One Piece Film Red movie review. Luppy and the One Pieces are back at it again. Okay, full disclosure, I have not watched or read any One Piece aside from one episode. Is this movie good for beginners? No. And I'm going to tell you why. First things first, you need knowledge to go into this. Not that much knowledge, but there are quite a few characters. They Avengers Endgame this puppy with a million pirates coming in at once. Not a lot of them have much purpose. They're kind of just there to fill the screen. It was definitely really interesting seeing their dynamic, but it's not something where you're going to understand, oh shit, it's this guy, unless you've seen the show. Going through the story, the gang goes to a girl named Uda's concert, the daughter of Shanks. Uda goes cyber bitch mode and traps all of her guests in this sort of sleep palace kind of world. Everyone's trapped there. You can't get out. She's all powerful inside of it. The things that I noticed the most while watching it, I'm sorry, I know this is such a standard complaint for certain animes nowadays, but the 3D CGI stuck out like a sore thumb. Whether it was Uda's model dancing in the background, which looked like a Just Dance model, or the musical little ship that followed her around, it's just very obvious that it's CGI. It's not necessarily bad, but when it's there, you see it. People are saying this is a musical. It kind of is. There's like 6 songs in it, most in which were a bop, but some of them were kind of just basic, your average pop song. And I just want to say, when it goes to flashbacks and you see her as a kid singing, she sings like a full-grown woman. And she's like 8. So basically, Uda's reasoning for doing this is Shanks and the crew left her on the island after the island essentially blew up on itself. And she was told as soon as it happened that it was because Shanks and the crew tore up the place and got out of there. Which, that's a pretty darn good reason for being pissed off. But the thing is, apparently a year later, she figures this out. She figures out that it's a lie, and that it was actually this musical demon that tore up the place because of her singing, and Shanks and the crew were actually trying to stop the demon. So why the hell is she doing any of this? So basically, Shanks leaves. She knows why he left. I guess she's upset that he never came back, but at the same time, he had good reasoning for it. Like the Navy was gonna hunt her down and probably kill her, but instead she went super psycho mode. But that seemed to be a common theme. A lot of characters had really weird, sudden flips of character. Like the character Mama, the mirror Mama. She was like, we gotta work with the Luppy crew? No thanks, and she's out. But then like 5 minutes later, when the plot needs her, they bring her right back in, and all of a sudden she has no quarrels with them aside from like one smart remark. It just seemed kind of weird. The 2D animation, however, was absolutely gorgeous, especially for the final fight scene. Incredible. And in terms of character designs, this does go a little bit more into just the show itself, but I have always loved the character designs. The story overall was very fast-paced. Like I said earlier, the story kind of just plopped characters wherever they were needed at the time, but when they weren't needed, they kind of just wandered around. Like while the whole crew is trying to figure out what to do to stop her, the main characters are kind of just walking in a circle around the town, and there's plot happening in the background. Like there'll be one scene where it kind of explains some of the history of the town, then it cuts back to a scene where they're falling off a cliff. So it kind of just seemed like the writers had a very specific story, but it wasn't long enough for a movie, so they had to plop in random scenes here and there that didn't really have anything to do with it. Now, I know it is mostly negative, but this is a very fun movie. It's something I think is worth watching at least once, if not for the characters, especially for the animation. Not the 3D animation, but the 2D animation. This is a film that is made for One Piece fans. It is not made for people like you and me that are not familiar with the universe. Like the beginning part where everyone's trying to kidnap Yuta, I just see a bunch of characters filled up on the screen, but I'm sure your average One Piece fan is sitting there with their mouth agape, Captain Hook! But at the end of the day, the writing and the action are your pros, but unfortunately the structure of the plot, the CGI, the motivations, among other things that hold it back, make this a movie that I can really only recommend to direct fans of One Piece. But as someone who has never seen it, I did still enjoy it. I'm going to give One Piece Film Red a solid 3 out of 6. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to catch up and subscribe for more videos every week.